Hello, everyone, and welcome to Single in a Small Town. I am your host, Lisa, and this is a conversational podcast discussing dating, relationships, and all the shenanigans that go in between. If you like my content, it would be great if you could log on to YouTube, hit that subscribe button for Single in a Small Town, and also hit like and notifications if you like notifications, because it will notify you every Tuesday when a new episode is released. So make sure you do that. Just to be clear, I am not an expert. I am just a single woman navigating the world of dating and relationships. Also, I want to, I'm changing up the background a little bit, so you might have some feedback noise in the background. So if you do, we're adjusting things as we go. This is the third episode, so hopefully it doesn't interrupt the sound quality and what you hear from us. But anyway, so just so you know, too, I'm going to have different people on here. Everybody has a difference of opinions. There's no right or wrong answer. And so just be kind if you have any feedback. And please leave comments for YouTube, or feel free to join my Instagram and Facebook page. Anyways, let me get started. This is my guest, Danae. She is a local in this town. She is an entrepreneur, an athlete, and a professional bodybuilder. And she's also a very dear friend of mine. And I love her to pieces. So she agreed to be my guest here at Single in a Small Town. She's got a lot of insight. We're going to have a great conversation. And hopefully the background isn't too bad. So it's definitely a better background as far as what we're seeing, instead of my TV with my little logo behind it, and also with my little fireplace that you may or may not be able to see. So anyways, Danae, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to jump right in. Danae was single for the longest time.
11 years.
She was my neighbor, 11 years single. And she is no longer single, right?
I am reformed single gal. Yes.
A reformed
Yes.
single woman. So tell me how that happened.
Well, living next to you, a bunch of years went by. We both tried the different dating world. I am dating in the wild person. I'm a big believer in having something in common. So I try to go out and do things that I enjoy. So you just named off a few things. Love being athletic, love lifting weights. I went to 32 different concerts last year. So believe in doing something that you like. So when you meet somebody, you already have something in common with them.
Right.
It's worked well for me. I mean, so far, right? You could say, well, you were single for 11 years. How well did it work? Sure, I dated people in that time period. I think it takes 3 to 6 months to know if you like the way they push the toothpaste tube. It takes that long to really know if it's going to work out. But at least you have something in common while you're figuring that out.
Absolutely.
So, yes, I met my current guy, who is fantastic. He has made me want to not be alone. And I'm so comfortable being alone. He's the first person since I was married that I want to be alone with. And that's huge.
That is huge.
And we met at a concert. I went by myself. I got some opinions on that, right? I can honestly say it seems like in the wild, dudes like I don't want to say the easy deer that's been separated from the herd, but whenever I've gone out by myself, done something by myself, it's approachable.
Yeah.
More approachable.
If you're with a gaggle of girls, no guy wants to come in and talk to you. And if you're that guy that wants to talk to a gaggle of girls, let me know. Make a comment, because nobody ever approaches me when I'm with a gaggle of girls. Now, if you're separated, you might get approached, but that was before 2020. Nobody approaches me anymore. Unless I'm sitting at a bar by myself and I'm traveling. It's the only time I get talked to.
Well, and I think that's a fair question, right? Like,
yeah,
you go traveling for work.
Yeah.
You're sitting at a bar. There's always conversation. We live in an amazing little town. Mm-hmm. I have no problem going out to any of our bars, restaurants by myself. Every time I'm at a bar alone, somebody is talking to me. And that's where I met my current guy. It was at a concert by myself. The other men that I've met over those last 11 years. One was at a hockey game. I love hockey. Another one was out on the beach playing beach volleyball. He looked like he could play beach volleyball. Met him. So there's a bunch of different ways, but it's always been when there's less than 3 of us, let's say.
Yeah, you go out with 8, 10
myself.
girls, you ain't meeting a dude.
No,
It's not happening. But when you met your boyfriend at a concert, you were by yourself.
Yes.
Now, this is a dating safety tip. So if you're by yourself at a concert, don't drink to the point of blackout. Like, have a few drinks, enjoy yourself, but then you're asking for a little bit of trouble. But you're not a heavy drinker. You're not somebody that ever loses control. I can't say the same for myself. But I have been at concerts, and I actually met a guy at a concert years and years ago, and I had the best time with this guy. It was a rock concert festival. My friends were all hungover. Nobody showed up. I was like, I am going to this thing, and I had a blast. And I met this dude, and we became friends. I haven't talked to him in years now, but it was actually a really good time.
right. Why miss out?
Why miss out?
Go by yourself. People almost notice that you're by yourself and want to include you. So
Yeah.
even if you don't end up meeting a guy that way, you're going to meet more like-minded people,
Right.
which is ultimately what you're after, right? And then you can expand your group, see if they have friends or they have 2 friends and more friends.
And that's kind of what happened to you. Like, you and your boyfriend kind of merged friend groups, right?
Yes, he has an extensive, fantastic friend group. And
I've
so
noticed.
now, they're starting to come in, and it's like, hey, I got who are your single dudes? Because I got single girls. Let's see what can happen to the party. But like, to circle back to the whole dating safely,
Yeah.
I know I have a friend, and she only has limited time to date. So when she does go on a date, and if things are going well, anytime she might be going back to a guy's house, the rule is she texts me his address. So I have his address, and she texts me when she's leaving. No judgment there, right? No judgment. But have a buddy system. Don't be naive. Just
Make sure you know what you're doing. If you are somebody who likes to go out with a guy and go back to his house, no judgment there, but at least make sure somebody knows where you're at. Just for the sheer part of being safety, because you really don't want to be one of those girls that ends up with her panties wrapped around her neck and in a ditch somewhere. So don't do that.
No.
And we're just saying that to keep people safe. I know sometimes stuff happens, right? But anyways, have you ever done online dating?
Gosh.
Or are you strictly a wild woman? You're just dating in the wild.
I prefer dating in the wild and organic.
1,000%, me too. But
It's
sometimes
not
I get
as
bored.
easy.
Yeah, I just
Yes.
like don't. Did you ever do it?
I did it once, and this is actually a funny story.
Okay.
So I'm from a small town in Western New York, so not anywhere near Florida. I go online. I like the profile. He liked me back. We decide to meet. And in my profile, I must have said something about being from Western New York. And in his response, he mentioned something in my hometown. I was like, what do you know about this restaurant? It turns out he had been married to a girl in my high school. And he went out with me because he thought I was a plant of hers. Because he
really put that much effort
Yes.
into thinking that?
Yes. And I was like, no, I know who you're talking about. So after that, I was like, maybe this isn't for me. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I am single, 1 income, no kids. So I'm a sink, and I'm looking to dink. Dual income, no kids. So if there were a dating app, so anyone out there who makes dating apps, for me, if I were to get on a dating app, I want to look for somebody without kids. Unpopular opinion, right? I've gotten a lot of flack from men who have kids who are like, what do you mean? You don't want to date me because I have a child? And this is the life I've chosen.
And it's
that's
kind of
where I'm with that.
But guys, also typically not all the time, but a lot of guys that have children want to date women with children. They just might be a little butthurt that you're like, yeah, you have kids. That's not my thing. For me, I would totally date a guy with kids as long as there's a healthy relationship with the mother, and as long as his kids are cool. Like, if your kids are cool, they're respectful. They're not hating on you because the ex-wife or the ex-girlfriend or whoever you procreated with has an issue because she still wants him or he still wants her. I don't want anything like that, but I would date a man with kids. I think it would be quite fun because I wanted a litter and I didn't have a litter. I had nothing, and now I have no pets, and it's kind of a lonely little feeling, but I actually have a bunch of friends in a small town, and it's quite fun. I have no responsibility, which is cool, except for putting up this podcast and running my business, which is not a bad deal, really.
It's a good life.
It's a good life. So you mentioned when we were texting earlier, rules for dating. And you were talking about one of your friends. Oh yeah, did we already touch that? We already talked about that.
Well, that was the buddy rule.
Buddy rule.
The buddy rule. If you're going over there, it's the first time and you don't know them maybe as well as you could, should. Again, no judgment. The decision to go or go away with them somewhere.
Right.
Tell me where you're going.
Yes.
I'm going to keep that information. Let me know when you're back. There's no harm, no foul. And it never hurts to let them know that somebody else knows where you are.
Share your location too with a friend. I have one particular friend I share my location with at all times. Sometimes I share with her and her boyfriend on my Snapchats because I know he pays attention more than she does. Whether he actually is looking at it or not is a whole other thing. But if I ever had a call for help or I needed something, they would be able to look at my location and provide assistance. However, I've been lucky and I haven't had any issues because I play by the safety rules 98% of the time. There's other times where, that shit happens. But
oh yeah, well, first, I can't even call it the date, but the first time I met the guy I'm with now, it was at a concert and he had offered to buy me a beer, and I don't normally let you buy a drink. And I had to take in the entire situation because I was standing somewhere to watch the concert and I didn't want to move my spot, but I was there alone, so I didn't have a drink. And so I assessed his friends, and not that he couldn't be Ted Bundy, but I assessed his friends and they were all having a good time. He was going up to the bar, so I let him buy a beer. And I had told him, I was like, I don't normally let somebody buy a drink for me on the first date where I'm not going up to the bar with you.
right.
So
I want this spot.
Right. I want that. This is a coveted spot. I am taking this spot to watch this really great band. So when he came back, to his credit, he had 2 beers and he said, pick yours. Here's 2 bottles. Pick yours.
I like that. That was smart.
He solved it. He knew I wasn't comfortable.
Right.
He was like, I'll make this work. You pick the beer.
That's a respectful thing to do.
Yep.
And he's also a respectful guy.
Very.
I like him a lot. So I've been seeing a lot of, I follow a couple of forums for dating on the Facebook, and some of the things that I see are women saying like, hey, there's a guy I met online and we want to meet for the first time, and I told him I'm not into hookups and he says he's not either, but he wants me to come to his house so he can make me dinner for a first date. Ladies, you are putting out the wrong vibe. If you go to his house, unless you're there for that reason, you're putting out the wrong vibe. And for your safety, just understand what you're getting yourself into. I don't care what he says. Men are opportunists. Guys, what do you think? If you propose a date for a woman at your house for the first time, I want to know. I want you to comment on this video and tell me, is your intentions to hook up, or are your intentions genuinely to just make dinner and chit chat?
I'm suspect, right?
Yeah.
And I believe women have to have self-respect and self-esteem. And although you can make it sound romantical on a first date, is that really what we're after?
No.
Is that honestly? Again, I know there's exceptions. There's
Right.
always going to be exceptions.
Right.
That said,
But if you're looking for that genuine person, I would say make him meet you somewhere. I actually had a guy one time, he was like, he offered to pick me up for the first date. And I said, no, I prefer to meet you out, which is what I do all the time. And then I clicked something on my phone and sent him the location of my house. I felt like such an idiot. I'm like, I'm trying to be discreet with where I live. Here's my location. Dumb move on my part. Do you have any other dating safety tips?
I'm a big believer in meet them
Yes.
wherever. The first date. Oh, I didn't finish where I was with the concert, right?
Oh, back up.
Oh.
Beep, beep, beep.
But it kind of goes with that. It was, here's a beer. So he let me pick the beer. And then after the concert, they're like, hey, we're all going to this next bar. I could have chosen to not go, but I chose to go. I put him in my car. So I drove. I didn't let him drive. His friends, we all end up meeting together. But it's little things like that. Just if you're assertive, right? Yes. He liked, and those were the things that he liked off the bat. I was assertive. I knew what I wanted as far as where the night was going. When it was the end of the night, I went home. He went home with his friends, and he was already asking the next day for the next date, right? So that follow-up makes a big difference.
Big difference. And she set boundaries. And boundaries is important when you're trying to set a precedence on something. I think having a strict boundary is extremely important when you're trying to find that person. How long have you and Matt been together for now?
Well, to quote him from this past weekend, 50 weeks.
50 weeks. Wait a minute. So you guys met, okay, we went to Colorado last year.
Yes.
And they had been on how many dates at that point? He was already special at this point.
Yes. So we had only been dating, I think, about 2 weeks. And I think we had 8 dates under our belt.
8 dates in 2 weeks. And he brought you to the airport, right?
Yes.
And then took your car back and detailed your car and then picked you up from the airport.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they moved really quickly, but it seemed like it was a really good match. And you kind of knew right off the bat, didn't you?
Well, and it goes back to the whole in the wild.
Dating in the wild.
We figured out we had been orbiting each other for a while because we had so much in common. Because we nerd out on a lot of the same things. Because we both enjoy music so much. And we went to so many of the same places just at different times. So when we were finally, our orbits crashed and we could start doing things, he had a cruise lined up. We had the Colorado ski trip. So it took a couple weeks, but I think that was even better because it kind of helped slow things down so that we could take the time to get to know each other, to know if there was enough to keep moving forward.
Yeah. And before that, I mean, you seem to always have somebody in your wing, whether you were always, from what I have seen, one foot out, the other foot like toes in, the other foot's out. But you still explored different relationships, but you've also dated some people that you didn't like their integrity. And we're going to get into the douche move of the week with this integrity stuff. So I'm going to give Danae the douche move of the week. I'm going to give her the mic to talk about that. What not to do. Or you're a douche.
Well, and fellas and ladies out there. So you guys are dating. You're trying to figure out, does this work? How does this fit? Can I live with that? Can I live with this? You're aiming for, in my opinion, 70% compliance, right?
Yeah.
70%, I like 70% of this person. If you get above 70%, that's pretty good.
It's really good.
New guy and I are probably at 98%.
That's amazing.
And I can't give him 100 because there's still a little bit more to get to know about him, but we're that close. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
But so you're evaluating, right? And if you, like you said, toes in, but 1 foot out. So still at the beginning, 3 to 6 months, I'm in that evaluation period. How is this working for me? What can I live with? What can I live with? Did I think I could put up with this. It's not working so well. So when you decide to go your own way, whether they decide it for you or you're the decider, keep your own respect. If they break up with you, don't be the douche that like contacts all their friends, plays the fool. Just have respect for yourself when it's time to walk away.
Plays the victim, right?
Oh my
You played
gosh.
the victim, right?
Yeah. One guy reached out to a bunch of people in my network trying to trash me, threatening them. Just, it's not worth it. Like, have some respect for yourself. And what if there was something I could have gotten over? We just had a problem with that because you acted so badly on the way out. There's no chance. Man, double.
Douche move of the week. Don't stalk, don't contact, don't play the victim, and don't threaten the person you are seeing's friends because you're insecure about something. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's when you just let it go and move on, right? Now, let me ask you a question today. When you are looking for a man in the wild, what are your primal instincts to search for? Like, what are you like, because I know you do a scan. I know you do a scan. So what are your primal instincts and what are you looking for in a man when you are looking out for him or when you're looking for a man?
It's I would say the first thing is confidence. How do they carry themselves? Are they confident? Are they having a good time? You know, like there's not a lot that rattles me. I'm pretty chill. I like to have a good time. What's their vibe? Because if they're the ones that are like complaining about something instantly, it's this, it's that, complainer, not having a good time. That to me also speaks to confidence. Like, I want to be able to go anywhere, do anything, put myself in a whole bunch of different situations. I want a guy that can do that too. Yeah. So, I mean, can you see confidence? Kind of. You can. I know, to me, like, as far as a look goes, usually bald head, dark eyes is usually what attracts me. But once contact has been made, just where are you with your level of confidence? Are you funny? Are you having a good time? Do you seem like somebody that I want to give my time to?
I was at a concert once and I was with another couple and another guy friend, not romantic, but we just all went to a concert together years ago. And it was in a smaller venue and there was this guy behind me and he was a good looking guy. He's kind of my type, like looks wise, appearance wise. But then he started, and we're at like a bluegrass concert. It's like a country bluegrass concert. So it's like happy, positive party songs, like some depressing stuff, but not much. But this guy literally was like, ugh, ah. He had this angry, like he was gonna punch somebody, and I couldn't understand. Like, I'm looking around, going like, what is he angry about? Who pissed him off? Like, what is happening there? And it was such a turnoff. Just his pure energy of almost rage. And I think he almost felt like he was like, oh, Metro Man. But it was such a turnoff. Like, I wanted to step away from this guy, but we had the perfect view of the musician. It was a Tyler Childers concert that I'm talking about. So watching this guy puff up over nothing, like I don't even know what happened. I mean, he was with some people, but I still don't even get what happened. So complete and total turn off for me. Now, you say if they're complaining, I bitch about everything. Like I bitch about everything for about 10 seconds and then I move on. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress, aren't we all? But that is something that can be annoying because I don't want to hear people bitch all day. But I do it a lot. I'm owning it though. I own it. I'm a bitcher.
But when you're out and you're doing your thing and you're in your element, you're not bitching.
No. I have a lot of fun.
And if somebody, we have sat at a bar, we have observed a man across the bar that you were like, oh, I kind of like what's going on over there.
Yeah.
And we did the, hey, asked a question, initiated contact.
You look familiar. Do we look familiar?
Oh,
And
that
he's
one
like,
works too,
he's
by
like,
the way.
yes, you look familiar.
That one works.
I never
That
seen
one
him a
works.
day in my life. Now I see him a lot, but and that didn't work out. Story for another day.
But you got contact. It started something. You were in the wild.
I was in the wild.
Yeah.
I had that initial attraction with this guy, and that's what I really enjoy. I am actually not even, I took myself off the dating site just because my last week's guest, Michael, he says he compared, I don't know if you watched last week's
Yes.
episode, he compared online dating to, it's the Uber Eats of getting laid for men. And
Yes.
I don't think it's always like that for guys, because there's a guy that I used to be involved with years ago, and still reaches out. And he literally tells me all the time, like, he has this pity party. No, I don't get any likes. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I mean, I can help you with your profile. Do you really want me to do that? No. I don't want to help you with your profile. I mean, I will if you really need help, but he's also fishing for more, and he's not getting it because that ship has sailed. I mean, that ship is in another ocean. It is so far away, and the sails are down. Excuse me. The sails are
He's
down
dead
on that
in the
one.
water.
I mean, there's not a chance in hell. Not if we were the last two people on the face of this planet. I would run. I'd help him if he needed help. Genuinely needed help, but most likely he'd be the damsel in distress, and I'd be the dude. And I don't even want to do that. I don't want to play the role of the dude anymore. But yeah, we met a guy in the wild, and then actually we met a new friend in Colorado that ended up taking us to a concert, and we had a ball.
And that was me sitting at a bar alone.
Mm-hmm.
Guy next to me had a good aura, right?
Very good vibe.
Great vibe. And he had that manly look that she alluded to that she's interested in.
Husky man.
So when he started chatting me up, I'd let him know I was dating somebody, but I had a friend coming in town that is a ton of fun. And what was he doing the next day when she gets here? And let's figure that out. And we ended up seeing him, like 3 times?
Yeah.
In about 4 days.
Super nice
Super
guy.
fun guy. Got us tickets to a concert
Yeah.
while we were there. Ended
Very
up having
friendly.
fun and intend on reaching out the next time we're out west. Like,
Yeah.
I would reach out to him.
I don't know when I'm going out west again. I was just invited to go for a Rays game out in Denver, but I don't know if I'm able to make it because I have other stuff on my plan. But I love Denver. I think it's a fun city. I like the snow towns. We stayed in a little town called Frisco.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
Picturesque.
Oh my gosh, it was so adorable. And we loved staying there. And we stayed at this little motel, which I'm normally too bougie for that, but I loved this place. It was the cutest little place. And it was in a perfect location. And we met this really nice guy. So meeting in the wild is ideal. Fortunately for me, I didn't feel a romantic connection. I just felt more of a friend vibe from him because he was a cool dude. Kind of my type, but not really. I don't know where I'm at. I'm like all over the place with my type. So,
But it was worth the
100%
checking it out, right?
Yeah, it was definitely worth checking it out. And I like that she was my wingman. Wingwoman.
I thoroughly enjoy that because I will talk to anybody.
I am actually socially awkward and kind of shy in social situations. Like one-on-one, I can talk to anybody. When I go on a meet or a date, I can talk to anybody for hours. I will just pull stuff out of you, and even if they have nothing to say to me, and then I get annoyed because they're not saying anything to me, or asking me questions. But for the most part, I can talk to anybody. You put me in a big group of people, and I'm like,
And I don't know why, because you're freaking hysterical.
I don't know how to insert myself in conversations. I just want to, until somebody invites me, I'm like, doo-doo-doo.
This is the decade for it then.
Insert myself.
Yes.
Start a conversation.
Yes.
Interrupt.
Or just be like, hey, what's up? What are you guys talking about?
Hey, what you talking about? Can I join?
Well,
Oh, that has nothing to do with anything I like. I gotta go. Moving on.
well, and that's how we started talking to that guy at the bar. Because I remember asking you, do you want to meet him? And you were like, yeah, kind of. And so it was
Why not?
literally, hey, you look familiar. I love that move. Whether it works for anyone else or not. Because if you walk up to somebody and say, "Do I look familiar?" Because you look familiar, and they're like, "No." No harm, no foul. Okay.
That happened. So I was drinking. She was not. We were at a bar. And yeah, that happened. I had my eye on this guy. He was a very attractive guy. He kind of reminded me of somebody that I knew, but I knew that I'd never seen him a day in my life. But I pulled that, and he was like, "No, never seen you before." I was like, "Okay, let me go back to my seat now."
Yes. Because if they're excited that you walked up to them and initiated contact, they're going to be, no, but maybe, do you this, do you that, and try to figure it out, because they want to keep you there, right? They want to keep you in their space.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, this is now a soft open. Like, they might have been trying to figure out how to come talk to you.
That guy gave two shits about me. He did not even care that I was
Then
going over
you
there.
know.
I knew. And then I went, tucked my tail in between my legs, went back to my bar stool, ordered another drink. But that was it.
For him, he
probably never thought about me another minute.
He's like, I don't know where she thought she knew me from.
I've never seen her a day in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
done.
Another one bites the dust.
It's lost.
Well, I don't know. Probably. We'll just say that for fun. Anyhow, we got to wrap it up here. So I hope this podcast sheds some light on dating and relationships in the wild. I'm going to be interviewing a lot more people coming up. Every week we're going to have somebody different, somebody with a different perspective, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Lisa.
And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Sign up on my Instagram, singleinasmalltown_podcast. I'm also on Facebook. And if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything that you would really like me to add to this, I mean, I'm going to get there as I go on. This is third episode, so there's going to be a lot of need for improvement. Please send an email to sendflowers to lisa@yahoo.com. And stay tuned for next week for another episode of Single in a Small Town, where we dive down the rabbit hole of dating and relationships.